Hello, everyone. Ian Hamilton here with Don Hopper in Missouri, back out there in Canada. And who else is out there?
Hi. Hi, everyone. My name is Rafael. I'm co-founder and CEO at Not Suspicious.
Uh-oh. Did we just have a false start? Let's see how this goes. Beck, what's up?
No,
All
we're
right, we're
good.
good. So, all right. So that's our show today. I'm in New York. We got Don in Missouri. We got Beck in
Yes.
Canada, and we got
Yeah, see you
wherever
next week.
Malta is. I honestly couldn't pick it out on a map.
I was gonna say,
Honestly,
I don't know
where
where
is
Malta is. Where is Malta?
It's in the Mediterranean. It's a tiny little island in the Mediterranean Sea,
Oh,
right
so
off the
you're
coast
just
of Italy.
like kicking it on the white sands and yeah, okay.
Well, not a lot of sands, a lot of rocky beaches
Oh,
here.
okay.
Yeah.
And do you use that as the background for your VR headset? Like, is that your pass-through view? Is you get to see the, rocky areas, or is it pretty there?
No, I'm afraid I live in the more urban area, so it's
Ah,
cheap. The rent is
okay.
cheaper there.
Ah,
I don't have
that's
a beachside
yeah.
view.
All right. Well, yeah, I picture that's what I hear that's what I picture in my head when I hear that city or that area
Oh
name.
yeah.
It is very
But
beautiful in the
yeah.
summer. Yeah. Right now it's winter though, so it's
All right. Well,
rainy and
so
Well,
stuff.
Ian,
so
I
yeah.
was gonna say,
Sorry,
what
go,
are we
Don.
doing here today?
Don, explain to
Yeah.
our audience what we're doing here. Don, what are you going to do today?
So okay, so here we go. Yeah, so for people who are joining, this is not just we're going to hang out in the studio and talk today. We're actually going to do something new. So this is something that we've been kind of wanting to do for a while, and we want to thank Raphael for being our first developer guest on our new show, which is still looking for a name. But we are going to try to start doing this more often where we have developers in the studio, and eventually they will be in the studio with us. But today we have Raphael by voice, and I am in a minute here going to take one headset off, put on another one, and you guys are going to see me in Raphael's game while Ian and Raphael talk a little bit about the development journey, what they're seeing, how things are going. So we're going to start out with the first game from Not Suspicious that really caught our eye and blew us away, Airspace Defender. You guys know I covered that last year. I'm in love with this game. Old school arcade guy, loved Missile Command. And so this is just Missile Command for a new generation. And then we're going to check out another game from Not Suspicious called Tablecraft, which will be the first time that we've actually been I've been in the game and Ian's seen the game. So should be an interesting conversation.
Yeah, this is gonna be a cool one. I see Robert Quinones out there in our comments. I'm able to pull those up while Don goes and maybe transfers into headset.
I'm
So
going to
let's
go ahead and
show off our superpowers here as we see Don transfer between realities. Now, what's funny there is I've got a mirror here on my little TV here that shows Don pigmented, fully formed as an individual. But
yes.
then over on my on my mirror, yeah, Raphael was getting this. Over on my mirror here, I see Grey Dawn, and Raphael, I assume you got to see Grey Dawn or whatever over there,
Yeah.
and all our
Yes.
viewers out
The
there get
hands
to
of
see
Grey
Grey
Dawn
Dawn.
bless you. Yes.
And now,
And
and
what's
now
great here,
there's
wait,
this
hold on. I'm
weird
going to do it. I'm going to do
alternate universe that we're
it.
seeing
Hold
him
on.
through, where there's like a fleshy person. Oh
I am
God, what is that?
actually Grey Dawn today. I'm all dressed in gray for
I
the
don't.
occasion. So there you go.
I don't know. As a
Yeah.
person who's born in VR here, I don't know what this strange universe is that you're
I
showing
know
me,
the
Don.
like meat world here. So okay,
So Don
let's
made
go
that
reset
transfer
here.
way too quickly, darn it. Raphael, you were supposed to give me your entire biographical history. So tell our audience out there who you are and how you got into VR development.
Sure. I so I got into game development in general, sort of randomly. I mean, when I got access to the internet around like 2006 or something, or 2005, I one day just randomly Googled RPG games, and I happened to stumble upon a website it was a community dedicated for this game engine called RPG Maker at the time, and and for people who are not familiar with it, I guess it would be the equivalent of Roblox for millennials. It's a very simple game engine.
I remember it.
Yeah, you remember game? Okay, cool,
I
cool.
do.
So I worked with RPG Maker. I did a lot of experiments. I over time I got better at I picked up some game design skills, I guess, and graphic design skills and stuff to try to make the sprites and the assets and stuff. And when I finished high school, didn't have the money to go to college because I come from like a working class family, and my parents themselves did not even like go to high school and stuff. So but I wasn't planning. College was not like in the cards for me. But luckily, my parents just like kept pushing. Like they had the insights even though they did not get a formal education themselves, they had the insight to sort of like almost force me, basically like aggressively push me towards pursuing an education. And so I took a gap year where I was doing a little bit of contract work on graphic design and game design when I was 18, and basically that's how I paid through my bachelor's degree in game design. Then
Wow.
I worked in like mobile games and casual games for quite some time, but I felt that I was tailoring a lot of my skills toward like just like getting better and better at like monetization or something like this. So when the Oculus Kickstarter came along, I was immediately fascinated by the idea of VR. So that was my first foray into VR. I know, Don, you have been following VR for like way longer than that, but yeah, for me it
About
was when the
26
Oculus.
years now. Yeah.
Yeah, right. For me it was when the Oculus Kickstarter came out, and at that time I was in Portugal. So I'm originally Portuguese. I'm from Portugal, and that's where I grew up. Um, and I was in Portugal working, just working on casual games, and I decided that I wanted to explore VR game design, but there was no easy way to do it in Portugal. So at that point, I decided, okay, well, I can either like move to some other like European country, or I can just go straight to the source where this is being made, and that was the United States. So I looked into how to go to the United States. I found out there was this program called the Fulbright program that would sponsor my stay in the United States for a few years while I pursued graduate studies. So that's what I did. And I went to the Florida Interactive Entertainment Academy in Orlando, and that's where I met my co-founder Guillaume Bailey. And we worked together. We did a bunch of projects while we were doing our studies together, and then in 2018 we basically started Not Suspicious to pursue to sort of build upon a prototype that I had started at the FIA, the Florida Interactive Entertainment Academy, and that prototype was Tablecraft. So that's how Not Suspicious came about, and it's called Not Suspicious because I did not have permission to start the company, so I didn't. Guillaume started the company, and I was just a volunteer for several years.
I love it. Yeah. So are you officially like a co-founder now? Is that how
And
it
then now
counts?
I am. Now I can call myself, co-founder and CEO, but at the time I was just a volunteer.
What we're doing over here is Not Suspicious. I love that with your VR headset in the corner is how I picture it. Wow, what a fun story. So let's take a minute here just to recap for anyone that might be watching what after this stream. So we're doing a test here. So we've got Don Hopper up on this TV here in VR. He's over in Missouri playing Airspace Defender
I
from
am.
the development studio Not Suspicious. And we have Rafael, the CEO of Not Suspicious, here by audio call, watching Don play live here. And I'm watching it live as well on a big screen here inside of virtual reality. We've got Beck out there in Canada broadcasting this show or putting the show for us together. We're doing this first for members of the UploadVR channel. So I want to say thank you to those members for their support of our work, the work we do here. And I'm thankful for you joining us today, Rafael, and for Beck and Don for putting this show together as a test of really us trying to, I mean, I don't know, raise the conversation around VR development and, build a place for devs to really share what their journey is like, the challenges of doing this, And gosh, what a better format than just being in your living room, Don. It's really wild to see all your VR equipment, to see you
It
just
is.
breeze through
Yeah,
this game, and they've
it
got
is
Rafael
literally.
on.
I
It's a
love
great setup.
this. I love being able to just talk to you guys while I play. You know, we're existing in multiple realities right now. This is great. I am so glad this is working.
And you're nuking cities, which is
I
all of our
am.
worst nightmares, right?
I am. You know, and it's like one thing I keep doing is like I keep forgetting I can, I'm in mixed reality. I can walk around this board. Why do I like constantly stand in one place here?
So
Yeah.
we were talking a little bit before we got in here, Rafael, about about your games, and it's like, so yes, this is for members. We're doing this for members first. We'll try to do this more in the future. Become a member so you can maybe see these things first. But then we are planning to make this public for everyone, so that everyone can really gain knowledge from these conversations. But we'd love to see what we can do with this kind of format in the future. So Rafael, the question I wanted to ask you on, and see how much detail you really want to give here, but you've got these two games here. You've got Airspace Defender, which is a hand tracking game, and it's quite literally mixed reality. We're watching it right now. Don has this little floating city in his living room, which is fantastic. But it's not the same as some of the other mixed reality games out there, right? This isn't Starship Home. You're not using the entire room.
Yeah.
This isn't Laser Dance, where
very
you've got to go
intentionally.
press a button. So talk to us about that design. I want to hear about your decisions to focus on this kind of mixed reality design.
Yeah, that's a great question actually. So there's two aspects to it. So one of it, one side of it is that when we were trying to think from first principles about like what is this very exciting augmented reality future that everyone keeps talking about, like what is that gonna look like? And at the time when we were at the hackathon trying to conceptualize this, Orion had not been revealed yet, but we had heard rumors about it, and I know David Heaney right now would be like, no, don't talk about Orion. It's not going to be like that. But I'm going to talk about Orion because we did take Orion sort of into consideration when we were designing Airspace Defender. Like we knew we were going to have these augmented reality glasses of the future are going to have a more constrained field of view. They're not gonna be able to do VR, right? Like the compute is probably gonna be very constrained as well. So the art style has to be something that's incredibly simple. So one of the things that Airspace Defender right now is would not be compatible with Orion is the fact that we use a lot of the black pixels, the black color, right? So we cannot render that in Orion. So that's something we were already thinking about as well. How would we change the art style in the future to support the new rendering, like the new display stack that these glasses are going to have. So that's Airspace Defender. With Tablecraft, what I was trying to find out was how can we design.
This gun is very satisfying to watch. I'm sorry. I need to comment on the gun being very satisfying.
Oh God, I love this. I love the vector graphics. It is so satabling not only to watch but to play.
Get it, Don. Kill him. All right, sorry, go on, Rafael.
Yeah, so with Tablecraft, we were trying to answer how do we design a great sandbox without locomotion, because this is something that I've been always very skeptical of since the beginning with VR. Obviously, Gorilla Tag and all these other games have sort of like proven that there is a huge market for locomotion type games, but me personally, I am not very interested in locomotion type experiences in VR. So that with Tablecraft, that was sort of like the thing we were going to try to answer research wise. And with Airspace Defender, it was just really how do we design something that's controllerless, because these glasses in the future are not going to have controllers, and how do we design something that would fit in a narrow field of view potentially. And at the time when we were at the hackathon, we did try to implement the room scale mixed reality stuff, but it's still a bit early, and also I sort of wanted to test how far can we actually design a fun experience that doesn't require all these other permissions, because as soon as you start doing room scale mixed reality, it's got, the Quest OS is going to prompt you to create a room scan every time you try to play, and so on. And Airspace Defender is supposed to be a very snackable game, something that you just play in 5-10 minutes. So it's not. So I didn't want to have all those pop-ups when you're trying to get into the game and stuff. So we tried to focus on a great tabletop experience, no boundary, no room scans, no nothing. It's just you can just quickly get into the game and play it. No controllers, no nothing.
All right. Beautiful. Well, this is fascinating. So we're planning to go see Tablecraft after Dawn. After we're sort of finished with some of this, but and I love everything you just said, because it's such a great summary of how devs think, right? And like the challenges you make. Like you don't set out to make a game that doesn't use all the features of the operating system, right? Like it's not like you weren't trying to like keep it from players. It's like it's a very shrewd, difficult decision to decide like what game design can I make that's actually going to mature in a really beautiful way over time. Is such a fascinating thing. So like I'm excited to hear about Tablecraft and how that differs and what kind of this is time for the question, okay? What are you seeing more success with sales-wise, Tablecraft or Airspace Defender?
Yeah, so Airspace Defender, when it came out on October 18 of last year in early access, it was listed at $15.99 US, and Tablecraft came out last Thursday as a free app. Tablecraft, obviously, because it is a free app, it has had a lot more downloads, like a lot. Let's say, let me put it this way: in 1 week, Tablecraft has gotten, I believe, twice as many active players as. So it's got a lot of
Over
it's got
the
a lot of
lifetime
players.
of Airspace Defender.
Correct. Yeah. What I have also noticed is that. I mean, I guess this is obvious, but Tablecraft is a lot more popular with a younger audience, and they are, I guess they just spend more time, right, like in VR, and they're more active on Discord and so on. Whereas Airspace Defender seems to be a lot more popular with adults and people who have lived through the 80s and 90s, and so.
I was gonna say you have a nostalgia factor here for crowd. I mean, that's what
CJ7, one of our members in the comments, said this seems very different than the Atari 2600 version I played. I'm not sure exactly what is different though. It's very humorous. I love it because it hits that nostalgia factor so well, right? Like it would be hard for me to imagine someone who has ever played Missile Command not to instantly make the connection.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Well, I love the fact too that you've got the vector graphics going. I mean, it kind of brings that nostalgia factor to it. I mean, I couldn't imagine seeing the game any other way.
Thank you.
Drawn any other way.
I guess now would be a good time for me to just quickly tease that. So right now we're working on tools internally to try to have water, so that we can have like quickly generate like land masses based on real locations. And then have water as well, and so this current New York and Giga Tokyo that you're seeing, we're gonna remake them, and they're gonna look like proper New York, and it's gonna have the proper landmarks, and and we're gonna add a lot more
that would be
cities as well.
Interesting.
Are you still going to keep it as vector graphics, or are you going to
absolutely, yeah. Okay. That's what we're trying to figure out right now. Like we have a water shader going on, but we're trying to figure out how do we make it look more holographic while maintaining the performance and stuff. Because I think one of the biggest problems with Airspace Defender right now is that it just doesn't have much of a progression system. So some players have been asking for like a campaign or something. So I think we're gonna be adding in the next couple of months a dynamic campaign or something like this, like XCOM
okay, so I was
inspired.
about to ask you about that. Yeah, because a campaign would be fantastic in here. You know, now one other thing, since real quick, and I'll get back to playing the game so you guys can talk. But one thing I've mentioned a couple of times on the podcast, and I can see, as you see, I'm like getting up and I'm moving around. Now, obviously, you can play this seated, you can play this standing. Have you guys considered any way for me to grab this map and resize it? Because that's one thing I'm really enjoying with these snackable tabletop mixed reality experiences, is that sometimes I may want this to be just slightly larger than this, so I can fill out most of my living room here and actually really get into it as I walk around the room, you know, pinching and, you know, kind of
that is definitely
before Rafael, like, let me add to that, right? Like, I just did the pinch gesture here in the studio, the middle finger pinch gesture that I was using in Gears and Goo, which I mean, Gears and Goo is a very similar map size to this. I mean, I can make it very big in Gears and Goo on Apple Vision Pro, but it's the same sort of thing, and I absolutely adore that feature over in that experience. So yeah, sorry, go on, Rafael.
Yeah, it's a highly requested feature. I think we're definitely gonna test that idea in the future. So I think there's only a design question, which is, you know, is it gonna like change the difficulty of the game in any way when you make it very large? So we just have to answer that question. We have to basically test it and see how it feels. And if it feels good, we can also probably add limits, right? A limit to how much you can scale it and how much you scale it up and scale it down.
I think I mentioned this the very first time we showed this on the podcast. I would love to be able to scale this up almost world scale in a way, like where I'm standing inside this out in my backyard.
Oh yeah, we've definitely discussed those ideas.
The sky, like throwing missiles up to the sky to try to, you know, so just a little.
Yeah, that's definitely something we were excited about.
Sorry,
no, go ahead, Ian. Sorry.
Oh, it's just this is the scope conversation, right? We're talking about the scope of your development plans, and that's what I'm fascinated about breaking down here over time, because you're saying that you've got a free game and you've got a paid game. You're doing an A/B test as a studio, basically, and I want to understand that A/B test and how it affects your thinking.
Yeah, so Airspace Defender we have since dropped the price down to $9.99, and so far what I have noticed so again I should state again that Airspace Defender is our first game on Quest, so I'm seeing all this data for the first time, and maybe it's not the same as it was in previous years, I don't know, but what I have seen is that the majority of the reach that we get happens when there's a sale. So Meta has this sales system that you can as a developer you can enroll for sales, and that's when we get the biggest reach, and that's when we get the most sales as well. But that only happens once a month, and you know, you can only basically, there's like a 30-day cooldown. So when you join a sale, then there's like a 30-day cooldown. So organic, generally speaking, you know, most days we still see some sales, but it's not nothing mind-blowing, definitely nothing that would sustain even like a team of, I mean, it's let me put it this way, it barely sustains a team of 2 people, myself and my co-founder Guillaume. Like our 3D artist John Ruiz, he had to get like a job basically, because we're just not making enough money to support that. But still, I guess we, you know, to an extent we do it for the love. It would be nice if we could also, you know, put food on the table while we do it. But yeah, I think the store is just having a moment, honestly.
Well, all right. Well, that the store is having a moment. What an interesting way of referring to it. Because what is that moment? Like, we're only going to realize what that moment is after we see the kind of like direction that Meta chooses to push its ecosystem, right? So, do you have an Apple Vision Pro, and have you considered porting Airspace Defender to it?
I do not have an Apple Vision Pro. I would love to port it to Apple. In fact, I guess I should mention this. When we were conceptualizing Airspace Defender, we were just thinking about Orion, but of course, I realized that Apple was doubling down on this, no controllers vision, and so yeah, Airspace Defender was also partly inspired by the Apple Vision Pro, but I don't have one, and it's very expensive. So if Apple sends us a dev kit, I would immediately try to put it on there.
All right, so here you heard it from a dev directly, right? Basically, this is real talk. This is Rafael, a dev out there in the market, explaining to you the financial limitations of developing for a specific platform. And we get into these conversations all the time with devs, and it's hard, right? But as people who play VR games, play mixed reality games, this thing belongs on Apple Vision Pro. Airspace Defender belongs on Apple Vision Pro, and it belongs on Android XR. So if you're a rep of one of those two platforms, you need to get a dev kit to Not Suspicious for those platforms, so this game can exist on those platforms. If what I'm hearing is true, Rafael, because there's other considerations in porting things.
No,
right?
yeah, we definitely would love to
dev
port it
time
to more platforms. Yeah, we definitely would love to, and we are talking with one other platform holder about potentially porting Airspace Defender on there, but we still have to hear back from them, so we'll see. But it's not Apple. I can say that.
It's not Apple. Okay.
Well, there's only there's Pico, there's Sony, those are the other ones. I probably
does it look like sunglasses?
Well, I can say we're talking to Pico, basically. Yeah, we're talking to Pico.
Talking to Pico. Okay.
Yeah,
awesome.
well, that makes sense. But and this is, give me, I'm the journalist here, and you're the dev with the relationships you need to protect with, to your platforms. I'm trying to give the platforms some real talk about, the seriousness, and it's difficult. Like, I've heard too many stories over the years of someone calling their platform friend and getting hyped up because their game has got someone excited at the platform company, and then that person leaves the platform company, or the platform company changes its direction quite suddenly, and then maybe the dev is told one amount that they're going to get from the platform company, and then they end up hearing a different amount when the actual paperwork arrives at their doorstep. I've heard horror stories out there in various ways, and the only thing I can think of to help other devs is to talk about this a little bit openly, so that you can share notes a little bit about what these platforms are doing and what it's like to do business with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I appreciate you being on here to have that conversation.
And to be fair, I will say, like, Meta did fly us out to New York for a hackathon to create this, which led to the creation of the prototype for Airspace Defender. So they have been supportive, but there's always, I guess, let me put it this way: if I was trying to build a metaverse, if I was Mark Zuckerberg, I would be a lot more aggressive with funding of small indie teams that are clearly doing work that that some people love, basically.
Well, I don't know if this isn't the space necessarily for the conversation. It's maybe a conversation that we'll have on an ongoing basis with VR Download with David Heaney, and we'll have parts of it with Don on our Gamescast. But I have this real question about whether anything that is not on the Horizon Store the Horizon Worlds platform.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Whether the Horizon Worlds platform is all that matters to Mark Zuckerberg and leadership at Meta going forward on the Quest platform. So that's a weird way of let me ask the question: is there any way for you to build Airspace Defender in Horizon Worlds?
That's an interesting question. I to be completely honest, I never looked into it. Maybe it is possible. Probably not to the extent. Probably not as polished as what you see here. because we wouldn't. I don't think we would have access to like the rendering stack and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know. I actually never used Horizon Worlds, to be fair, because it doesn't sound like something that. Yeah, it's. I wouldn't, as a developer, I wouldn't like to be. I wouldn't like for the company that owns the storefront to also own the game engine that I am using to build to build the game that then I will sell on their store. Yeah, it just sounds like too risky for a business.
Goodness. All right. So I appreciate that, Rafael. My question or lead in there was pretty meandering, and you got it exactly sort of what I was trying to go for, try to understand there is what does it mean for you strategically as a dev. And yeah, that's really interesting. So when you say, I have to think about this, you say you're able to support 2 people. How hard is it to support yourself on what's happening on the store right now?
I mean, it could be worse. It's not too bad. Wait, can you hear me still?
Yeah, yes. I can, yeah.
Oh,
we can hear you. I don't know if you're getting feedback from us, but yes, we can hear you.
He dropped out. Okay.
So we lost Rafael, I guess.
He'll be back
here in a minute. Very, very meaningful conversation with Rafael here. We'll wait for him to return.
I was going to say, until he comes back, this might be a good time to. Hello.
That is an up close view of that kitty.
Oh yeah. Oh, are we looking at the kitty? Oh, that's the dog. There's the kitty.
Oh, that was the dog. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we have sleeping animals all over the place. We got Nugget here. Let's take a tour while we wait for so we got Nugget. She's asleep over there. She's my pit bull boxer mix. And then we got Missy. We've seen her on stream a few times. And she is our pit bull border collie mix. And then we got Big Winston here. And he is my ragdoll kitty. And he is like 15 pounds of fur and piss and vinegar. And then we got Old Man sleeping back there. And he is my 16-year-old cat, Mr. Kitty.
Wow.
So,
I
can't see the comments.
I have only seen CJ's comments. Are there more since then? Maybe it did it. Let's see. I'm going to go look at comments over here. Thank you to everyone who's watching us today, both live and after the show. Oh, it looks like, we've got more comments here that have been dropped. Okay. I guess my window wasn't updating over here. Let's see here. I worked with Nrail on a promo project, but they made us buy the $700 Air for $6.
Yeah, that was an interesting time with the Nrail developer kit stuff. And
then Robert Quinona is saying, I really wish Apple would send those out or have a contact to request it, being the dev kits for Apple Vision Pro. But if you started a GoFundMe, I could put a few dollars toward it. Oh, that's really nice. Robert Quinona is talking about Rafael. That's really nice. Yeah, and but that shouldn't happen. So if anyone from Apple is paying attention, I'm going to repeat: if there is someone deserving of a dev kit for an Apple Vision Pro to get their software on your system, I believe Rafael and Not Suspicious is a very, very, very good candidate. We've enjoyed Airspace Defender tremendously, and it is a great fit for hand interaction on your system.
Yeah, I don't own a Vision Pro,
pitch to you,
but I can totally see this game on Vision Pro. I mean, it needs to be there.
Hello.
Yes, that's our endorsement of stamp of approval. We hope we have. It doesn't matter if we have hundreds of people or thousands of views on this video. All that matters is if that dev relations person at Apple or that dev relations person at Google goes and finds the Not Suspicious email address and gets them what they need to get their game on more platforms.
Absolutely.
You go to Andrew, the head of Alchemy Labs over there at Google. He makes it sound like the porting process for getting your content onto Android XR is up. I think his comment was something like about as straightforward as it gets. So like, I mean, goodness, this is like one of those games where if it's not there on day one of the launch of Android XR
Oh
as an
God, yeah.
official platform, it would be a big miss for the Google platform. And
No,
like,
yeah.
think about what we just did here, Don. Right? Like all those people who think we're bent in favor of a specific platform, right? Like I
Mhm.
think we just this is the core of who we are. Of like,
No,
let's
we are
support
not
devs. Like,
specific
let's talk
platform.
about cool
Yeah.
stuff and
We are
get
dev
more
focused. So
more rallies behind it. Yeah, more people behind it. So yeah,
no,
that was really nice
absolutely.
of you, Robert, and throw any support you can as well behind Not Suspicious out there. If you're a member of UploadVR, we're really impressed with this piece of software, and if we can get Rafael back in here, we'll
I think he
continue
is.
the
I
conversation.
heard him. Rafael, are you back?
Oh, you
Yeah,
heard him?
yeah. Am I
Yeah,
back?
I heard him. I heard him come back. So yeah,
Sorry,
we
guys.
just
I don't
kind
know
of
what
jumped back
happened.
in the studio while you were out for a minute and kind of had a little conversation with the chat audience. And real quick before I jump back into game here and give Ian and Rafael the studio back for conversation, I do want to make a pitch to everyone who watches this after it posts back as a regular video on our channel. If you are a developer, a VR, AR, XR developer, please send us your information. We would love to talk to you. We would love to do this with your app in a private setting first and then public later, and let you get one-to-one in the moment feedback on your creations, and then share your journey with our audience. So
Yeah, so I'm seeing John Birkbeck out in the comments just added one more comment here saying more shows like this, please. Interesting hearing from the devs, both business aspect and the tech dev side. And Rafael, you're knocking it out of the park with us today, nailing
right on.
exactly what we'd hoped to
Thank you.
do.
Appreciate it.
And we hope, so John, you're giving us the feedback we'd hoped to hear
Absolutely.
from doing this show. And this is three of us at UploadVR putting this particular show together today. So we've got Don, we've got Beck, and myself putting this together. That's a lot of manpower and a lot of time to throw at the show. And we are throwing, I don't know, 6 different computers in
Oh my gosh, yes.
3 different provinces or 4 different provinces worldwide at this production. But it works, doesn't it? Right? You
It'd be
get
so
to see the
cool.
game, you get the feel for the game, you're getting experts who understand what the game feels like to play, talking about the game, and we're having a real talk about the
Real
shape
conversation.
of this industry. We need to have
Absolutely.
more of these. So we're gonna hit the gas pedal on this as much as we can. But we need more members, we need more support,
Absolutely.
and we need good devs, good games to get in here to follow up with this in the future. So we've got a lot we can do here in the future. Thank you to Beck for putting this together. Thank you to our members for getting us this far. And John and Robert, tell us what we could do better here too.
Absolutely.
As we go into the future. Don, you ready to jump back in?
I am. I am literally. I'm going to give Rafael the empty chair here for his voice to inhabit. So I will see you on the flip side.
We could, you know what? Going back to our cult theme, right? We could put like a hovering orb over the seat here whenever we have the voice from another reality, portaling in here,
All
like
right.
a floating flame.
So,
that might
real
be a
quick
little too
question:
offensive,
do we
so.
want to use this as a transition point to Tablecraft, or do you guys want
Yep,
me to
I
Might
think
be a
this
good
is
idea.
Tablecraft.
continue to play?
Yeah,
Okay,
and
so
it's
let's
going to
jump
be a
into
different
Tablecraft
feel
now.
here. Yep,
Okay.
go into
So now
Tablecraft.
you get
It's
to
going to
watch
be a
me
different feel here.
manipulate menus here. So
Yeah, completely
oh,
different.
wait, there it is. Yeah, so this one
So,
you need
is.
Rafael, tell
controllers
us
for
about
this one.
Tablecraft.
I do. I
Yeah,
have my controllers right here.
yeah. You need controllers for this one. Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
So
well, all right. Now, wait. Now
yeah,
that you just made him go grab the controllers, which is something you don't have on Apple Vision Pro, and it's required by Horizon Worlds right now. On that last
think
subject
yes.
before you
Yeah.
got disconnected or whatever, you're still told at the moment you launch Horizon Worlds, I think at present right now, and it would be one of the reasons many devs don't go in it, but you got to go grab controllers before you go play around in Horizon Worlds, I think, right?
Okay.
That's right, Don? Correct me if
Yeah.
I'm wrong out there in the comments, but that's
Okay.
that's a huge blocker for design, right? Like, Rafael, how do you make that decision? Whether, like, that's aside from all the other things dividing your game design from all the other types of game design out there, you have to make the decision right at the outset: do you require controllers or not? And like, how hard is that decision in addition to everything else?
Well, business-wise, it's very hard because right now the majority of users on Quest, I mean, the controllers come in a box, right? And the vast majority of the ecosystem is it's all controller-based games. So most players expect controllers, and to be fair, the hand tracking only became sufficiently good like in the past couple of months, I would say. In the past 6 months or something. So yeah, so that might be another reason.
Audio a little bit, Don.
What's that? Oh, are we not?
Are you able to
audio?
turn down game sounds a little bit?
Game sounds?
Yes.
Right,
Don, to your right, there's a stereo on the desk.
Oh yes. Okay. Yes, I see it here. I forgot about that.
Yeah. There you go.
How's that?
Okay.
Beautiful. I love it. And what a wonderful demonstration of exactly what this platform offers us, right? So thank you for that. All right, Rafael, keep going.
Yeah, Don, let me just give you a quick tip. Because
what am I supposed to be doing here?
The save system is messed up. So if you look behind you, there's to your right, there's like a Doctor Who type of booth.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah, can you click the button on the side there? Yeah.
Okay.
Let's just go to a different save because I think this one is. So it's gonna fly on top of you, and then we're gonna start a new lab, and hopefully it will be
nice. Okay, not in the mood for interdimensional travel, no problems. Oh, I love this.
So you can just visit another timeline. Yeah. So this actually, I could start by talking about this. So this is an example of what you shouldn't do as a dev, which is go ham on a super high scope thing for a feature that doesn't really matter, which is the save system. So this is our super complex save system. And I'll just exit there.
How much dev time was just represented in that room?
Oh my god, that was like 2 months of 4 people working on it. Yeah, it's completely unnecessary. So Don, in front of you, you have the crafting machine, which starts with an object on top of it. If you click the atomize button, you can decraft.
And now
objects.
I've got it as it as its components.
Correct. So, for example, if you grab one of the bolt or the can or whatever and put it on there, you can also extract.
I see. Okay, so I'm extracting the elements here. Okay.
Now you see the big screen that's in front of you in the lab. Go to the first tab. Okay. On the left there. Yeah. Now hit the back button. Okay. So this is the goal in the game, is to unlock all the elements.
Okay.
Yeah, and the way you do that is with the machine to your left. So the machine to your left, right there, has a question mark cube on it. If you click the green button, it will scan it, and it will tell you what that cube is. So it's a very simple. It started off. So Tablecraft started off as really just VR research for me. That was my relationship to the project at the time. I wanted to figure out how do I design a game without teleportation, a game where the action comes to you. So to your right, we have these characters that come flying down. They're customers, basically, and they ask you for things that you can craft, and then give it to them, and they'll give you resources and so on. So this is sort of the core loop. You craft things, you give them to these characters.
Gravitational slingshot.
And then there's a bunch of different ways to unlock the elements. You have radiation and radioactive decay, which is based on the real life radioactive decay chains. Which is the tab you're on the big screen. And then we have the test subject index. So once you craft something, once you have an object, you can hit the green button on that machine to the far left there in the lab, where you see the radiation symbol. There's a cactus inside the machine. Yeah. Right. And it will bring the craftables to life as like
I love
a test
how it
subject.
walks. Oh, that's cool.
Thank you, thank you.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, okay.
Guillaume
That's
spent a
fun.
lot of time working on their, little legs.
Whoa, that was a cool effect. Can you make them walk around a little bit more, Don? I want to see those
I
legs.
think it
Yeah,
got
feel free to
stuck. Hold
lift.
on.
Yeah, lift the desk, Don. This was an accessibility feature as well. So
There we
you can
go.
tell we were exploring a lot with like accessibility features as
Yeah,
well.
those legs are
Oh, there we
awesome.
go. Now I can move
Good
him.
work.
Okay. Oh, I love that.
Try
Oh,
putting
that's
him
so
on the
fluid.
stool, because I think his legs even react to the stool. Yeah, you see.
Huh. Oh,
Wow.
how weird.
And these guys, they can eat some of the things that you have crafted. So, the trophy or whatever. Yeah, feel free to grab one of the trophies or even that. Yeah, and just feed it to them. And then they will
And he
poop.
pooped out a block. Okay.
And they poop out. Yeah, they poop out blocks. So it's a playful little sandbox that we were designing primarily to try to understand how to do VR, and then secondarily to try to understand how can we do an interesting and engaging educational game, which by the way turned out to be way more challenging than
That's what I
than
was
we.
just about to call out. I love the fact that if my kids were younger, I mean, they are, late high school at this point,
Mhm.
but this could have been like they would have spent hours in here learning about the periodic table and elements and what
No.
makes
Mhm.
up things in
Yeah.
a fun and engaging way that is more suited to their learning style. And
Mhm.
wow, I mean,
So
yeah,
Yeah,
so like go to
that was the
Oxygen
goal.
out of curiosity. So can we follow like a curiosity thread like Oxygen? Can you look at Oxygen up there and what can
yeah,
we
yeah,
learn
we
about
can watch.
Oxygen if we
Look at
go
Yeah,
this.
yeah. So
to
if you click oxygen on
Oxygen.
there,
Where's
then
O2?
on the top row, top right?
There it is. There it is.
yeah, top right. If you
Okay,
click it, then it
oxygen,
highlights
and
the
then
oxygen
the
in the lab.
isotopes. Yeah. Okay. Look.
Yep, yep. So
Wow.
for example, Don, right now on the machine to your left, you have a cube on there. Take that one out and let's put oxygen on
Boron.
there.
Okay. Let's put
So we will
oxygen.
try to let's see now. If you look to the big screen, what are the okay? So let's see. So oxygen has a couple more isotopes, two more isotopes that you have not yet discovered. Because
Okay.
if you look vertically, those are the isotopes. So
Okay.
so oxygen, you have oxygen 16, 17,
Right.
and
I see.
yeah, yeah.
So
So using the machine to your left now, try to just move that handle. Yeah, grab that handle and yeah, move it. Okay, wait. You're adding too many neutrons. That's gonna be a
I
100%
see.
fail chase. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh
Okay,
my
there you go.
God.
This is good. This is good. Try that. Try
There we
that.
go. All right.
Oh, 20%. Okay, yeah, never mind. You failed. But
I
try,
failed.
try, try with another
All right.
That's
oxygen.
okay, Raphael. That's what we do here on my game streams. I fail a lot, so
Well,
We just had bad luck.
all
We
right.
just had bad luck.
I'm
But
blown away here. This is incredible. This is so wonderful, and I'm seeing in our comments, CJ echoing my feeling here. This looks way more fun than chemistry class ever did. I wanted to make
oh
a quick
god,
request or just a feature suggestion here. Have you considered making the display over there that Don's looking at?
mhm.
Is there a method in the platform to mirror just what's on that display to an external device?
That is such a great question. So not currently. So actually, yeah, this gets to the core of our research. So
I'm
so we
playing Does
actually
It Stack
got
now?
well, basically the way we funded the company very early on. And by the way, Don, try putting the fluorine and the sodium on the machine so you can like make toothpaste.
Okay.
Or
Yeah,
sorry, no,
to
fluorine
the
and
yeah.
potassium is it?
Did you
Yeah.
did you specifically take inspiration from Job Simulator here? Because I'm seeing the feel of Job
Yes, there
Simulator.
was some inspiration from. Sorry, it's the other red cube. Don. Yeah, there was some
I had
inspiration from.
potassium.
Yeah, that one,
Oh,
sodium. Sorry.
sodium.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Toothpaste. There you go.
Craft. There we go.
Yes, there was some inspiration from Job Simulator. They did a great.
Form
I actually loved that era of VR. I thought it was a great era because they also did a lot of work on accessibility and trying to change the size of the play area, and have it respond to how big your boundary is and so on. And I thought all that work they did was great. So yes,
Oh
definitely
yeah, I
inspired
haven't
by
even
Job
tried that.
Simulator.
So can I? Yes, I can. Okay, so
I was gonna
augmented
say
scale.
though, Ian. So the way we funded the company early on was with this project. We pursued what's these grants in the United States are called the SBIR grants, the Small Business Innovation Research grants, which which is a grant that like Shell Games is also known for getting. Like they use that as part of like their core business model, I guess. Um, and we actually got a grant from the National Science Foundation to sort of like develop Tablecraft. And the premise of it was that we were gonna figure out how to solve a lot of these like classroom VR barriers. Like, how do we bring VR to the classroom? And one of the things we learned through, during all those playtests, we've had, by now we've had, even before we launched Tablecraft, we've had like thousands and thousands of kids play Tablecraft already. Since 2018, between 2018 and 2025, a lot of people play Tablecraft at conferences and in the classrooms and so on, as part of this grant work that we were doing. And as part of that work, one of the things we did was we developed this mobile companion app for phones, for iPhones, and for tablets as well. And in that companion app, so it worked with local peer-to-peer multiplayer. So you would just, if you were on the same Wi-Fi network in the classroom, and again, there were a lot of sort of design constraints that went into it. Like, we knew that we couldn't rely on the connectivity of the internet connectivity of the classrooms, because in our playtests we found out that classrooms, it's not reliable internet there and so on. So we just needed the Wi-Fi network so that we could route all this traffic, and so we did it with peer-to-peer at the time, and it turns out it was a very effective way to engage the whole classroom, where we did some of these playtests in the classrooms where we had as little as there's just a couple of kids in VR, because the rule, what we wanted to do is we wanted to make it so that it's you don't need to have many VR headsets to engage the whole classroom in VR activities. You just need one, and then everyone else can join on their phones or whatever for free. And that's what we did. But unfortunately, this build right now that I put together, I'm not totally sure if it's compatible with the Android and iPhone app that we have. So I guess I just have to do more testing whenever I have time, and if everything is working, or if it just needs minor fixes or something, then yeah, I can put out the Spectator app out there as well for people to check it out. But it's something that should have been in my, since 2018, I was hoping that Meta would have done something like that at the OS level, where people could just jump into the lab without us having to create this entire separate app, Spectator app and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Beautiful. What a wonderful. So thank you for going deep on that question. And this is another example of what we want out of this format with our audience, where I think we can really dive deep on this subject, because oh my goodness. I mean, so what is your funding model for this game if it is free to download?
yeah, so right now, again, like I said, we're just two people, Guillaume and I. So right now, our funding model for our plans for this game are basically like non-existent. I just wanted to put it out there because, like you were saying, Ian, like there are a lot of kids out there that do get a lot of joy out of something like this, and I saw that firsthand during all these playtests that we've done all over throughout the years that we were working on it. It was just unfortunate that we never got it to a state where it could have been shipped on the store, because and luckily last year Meta, luckily, I mean, it depends on how you look at it, but luckily last year Meta opened the store for anyone to put things on the store. And so I was like, all right, well, I guess now I can put the unfinished Tablecraft on the store, and we'll see what kind of reception it gets. If people truly, if we get like 1,000 reviews or something like that, and if there is truly demand for it and people are passionate about it and they want more of it, then we can probably figure something out. Like, we can either like talk to, hopefully talk to Meta and like work something out. But if that doesn't work, then I guess we'll just, I would like to keep Tablecraft free forever. So I guess we could do DLCs or something like that. But we'll see.
Well, that's
in any case.
All right. Well,
we're focused on Airspace Defender for now. I guess I should conclude with that. Yeah, I should conclude with that probably.
Well, I love that. All right, Rafael. I mean, like, so backstory here. So Rafael sent us a video, right? You sent us the video for the showcase. Is that right?
Yeah, for the summer showcase last year.
Yeah, he sent us this video for Airspace Defender showing us the game we played at the beginning of the stream, and that's the way we have our setup, our showcases basically set up now. Is we kind of have an open submission process because we want small teams, where just one or two people, to be able to have the same chance that a big studio has at um, getting their content in front of a lot of eyeballs. And he sent us this video of Airspace Defender, and it was just so obvious how cool it is right from the start. This one, I feel like I've seen, I feel like I've gotten into my inbox probably once or twice. Like I might have seen it over the years, but it's hard to reach a journalist, right? Like it's
Mm-hmm.
hard for like anyone out there to get why they would play a VR game. But in here, in what, 15 minutes or 20 minutes here with Don, my brain has exploded. I think our viewers' brains have exploded. We've gotten the gist of this game in a way that like was impossible in any other way. Like you cannot convey just how playful and educational this all comes together all at once without having all this. Uh, Interesting. So the school model is really, I'm obsessed with it. Thinking about the idea that so the example in my head is back when I was a kid, my mom, I think it was, had a little wooden decoration in her kitchen, and it was the Greek alphabet, just on like a little burned, it was like wood burning or something on this little hanging piece of wood, and it was somewhere in the kitchen or near our office. And yeah, it's literally all it was the Greek alphabet. And I want to say I spent a summer home from school just staring at that wooden little box on the wall, hanging on the wall somewhere, and going alpha, beta, gamma, delta, upsilon, zeta, eta, theta, iota, kappa, lambda. Like I memorized the order of the Greek alphabet. I
Yeah.
don't know, I might have screwed up a bunch of them, but simply because it was a hanging frame on a wall for me to stare at for a summer, right? Like, and I learned Greek letters. I learned the order of them roughly, and put this little bit of knowledge inside my brain. I want your app on an iPad floating in my, in future nurseries, right? In the future. And the kid goes, I want to learn about oxygen today, right? And they start building out their periodic table in a frame on the wall. Like that's within reach of your piece of software to have that
Mm-hmm.
kind of home educational system. Is that something you envisioned or you want to achieve?
Not something we're thinking about achieving right now. With Tablecraft, at the time, mixed reality did not exist, and so we actually spent a lot of time just thinking about how do we create this virtual reality environment that does not feel like a classroom. And, it's not an
Mm.
enclosed space. It's open air, and I try to I try to design the environment so that it feels like welcoming to basically everybody, uh, not just type of personality, right? Like not something that was too masculine or too feminine. I wanted something that was, just right for most audiences. And I agree with you, Ian, that I would love to see a hand tracking mixed reality or whatever augmented reality version of just these crafting mechanics, right? Where or even like the test subjects where you can like have them in your living room and they're the thing we did here where the legs were getting caught up in the stool in VR, like that would be interesting if you could do that in your physical environment, and you have the test subjects on
Hmm.
that. So yeah, I would love I think that's how I would have designed, like today, that's how I would design it, right? Because in the end, the reality is that VR is not necessarily like totally suited for the classroom. I mean, it one of the things that one of the barriers we kept across was running into was VR isolation problem, and in the classroom that's a big problem, and essentially that's why a big reason why we did this spectator companion app that we were talking about, so that the teachers could see what's going on in the lab, and so that the students themselves could also sort of see the teacher embodied in their lab, and so on. But I think a 2025 version of something like this would probably be mixed reality native.
I could see it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm seeing definitely, and again another candidate for Apple Vision Pro in that format especially.
Yeah.
So
Android.
this is a very strong candidate for getting you a dev kit for an Apple Vision Pro. I'd love to see this on there too.
And speaking of the
love to.
stool, I love that I put the stool exactly where I need to sit down.
By the way, Don, check the 4th tab on the big screen. You can also
Okay.
like send rockets on expeditions. Unfortunately, it's a system that So if you click one of those planets on there that look pretty ugly,
Oh, okay.
there was supposed to be this little mini game where you try to figure out
hold
what's
on.
the abundant elements on there, and
Nice.
and then you send a rocket, and then a few minutes later a probe comes back and gives you some of the elements that were on the
Okay.
abundant on that planet.
Can
Yeah.
I see ETA? A minute and
Yeah,
50?
yeah.
All right. No, that was a cool effect. I love walking over here and watching that actually.
It looked beautiful on video. It came across for me too. I think. Is there anything else that we should see inside Tablecraft that would be interesting for viewers to understand about what you've got here? Don was basically juggling in there.
We can maybe give the ice to one of the alien characters. Don, do you still have the ice?
The ice, yes,
somewhere?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's buried over here.
It's right there.
It is.
Yeah,
There
you
it
got
is.
it. So yeah, on the left side, I think you have one alien that's asking ice up there on the roof.
Ice cream.
Yeah, the other one to your left. Yeah, this
ice.
one.
There we go.
So, no, I think you had already done this, right? Where you get a little reward
did.
and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think you did it. Okay, cool. So
Yeah,
I think
did.
you've seen everything basically. Yeah, it's just a game where you're discovering the periodic table.
Oh no,
and
I was on the way to
isotopes.
try to figuring out how to build the lightsaber. So yeah, I already kind of figured out. Now I've got to. Okay, now I got to destruct all this stuff, find my elements.
So I want Don. So after we've sort of looked at all the things in here, I think it's time for Don to transition back into our studio here pretty soon. But is there anything else before we do that? Because I want to talk about this design pressures before we tune out today and get people thinking about some of the things you've talked about here. Because I'm seeing some trends in your design here that I think would be interesting to end this show on. But is there anything else that Don should check out before we pop out of there?
We'll wait for these 10 seconds just so we can see the probe come back.
Yeah, the probe come back.
And then I think that's good enough.
You better get off that, buddy. I think you might fall through.
He moves away. So if you look up, you'll see it come from there. Oh, there it is. There it is.
There it comes. Nice sense of depth.
Like a SpaceX rocket.
But this one doesn't blow up. Okay, so that works.
Oh, there you go. You got.
Oh no, man! I got the mother load here. Check this out. Oh boy, it's spitting all sorts of stuff out. All right. Share my discoveries. There you go. Maybe a little Discord shout out there.
Yeah, so I think we've seen everything in Tablecraft. This is pretty much it. Just a little sandbox where you can explore and play with the elements.
Yeah, so I think what we'll do. So I'm seeing Robert Quinona is saying that they want us to post a link to the website. So I think what we'll end up doing is we'll end up doing an article about probably this show, so that we get this in front of all the people on the article site. And then I think we will probably also put a link to both Tablecraft and Airspace Defender in the description of this particular broadcast. I don't think we'll be doing that every week, but want to make sure that people can find those games on this particular broadcast, especially since you did this experiment with us. And I want to talk to you about some of the things you showed us. So we talked about we're still showing a live view of Don's other headset here. Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
fantastic.
I guess we are.
I didn't even
visual
aid.
I just set it off of the couch here. So.
Yeah, well, keep it pointed at the screen there because it's exactly what I want to discuss.
Yeah, it's good.
So
it looks
good. I figured that'd be a nice framing.
Yeah, so if you go to an Apple store and try out an Apple Vision Pro headset, you're going to go try out a headset that is probably way out of your price range. And we are on the phone with a dev who is just built two beautiful pieces of mixed reality and virtual reality software. This is top tier work in virtual reality,
Absolutely.
and it is in active development, being changed every single week. Like they're actively changing these things. That won't always be the case. They can't always throw their time at these projects. They're going to have to go find another project to go throw their time at. If these ones don't start making enough money to keep the lights on and keep them going. But here we are with this beautiful, we've got our beautiful uh, commenters out there who have supported us, our members who understand the pressures of VR development. They've understand that we're trying to like raise up devs and get this conversation going with them so we can understand the pressures. So thank you to our commenters for getting this feedback loop going with our devs. And here's
Absolutely.
why I want to talk about the Apple Vision Pro stuff. So you go into an Apple store and you go try an Apple Vision Pro to see what this super expensive headset is. The demo person giving you your Apple Vision Pro experience is going to probably have an iPad in their hand commanding what you see inside of that headset. So earlier in the show, Rafael talked about the loneliness problem of being inside of a headset, of being cut off, of this design choice he's had to make on two very different pieces of software here. So Airspace Defender, which lets you see your physical environment, and then this one, which totally cuts off your physical environment because they haven't built the mixed reality mode for it yet, because it's still in active development. What both of these pieces of software could benefit from, and what Apple Vision Pro is doing right now in stores, what those demo people are doing, is helping the person out and getting information about what they're seeing while they're inside the software right now. So he talked, Raphael was very polite about it earlier in the show, but I'm not going to be so polite about it. Meta has had
Reach.
the Horizon app, the Quest app, they've changed names on it over the years for years. They've put things like mixed reality, like camera work, I think was in there at some point. You can capture on your phone what the person sees. But what we need is a combination of all of these things, right? You need to be able, you can recenter the person in VR. Yeah, that's great on the Quest ecosystem. There's a few things you can do there. You can launch apps for a person from that app inside the Quest ecosystem. But that's not what Raphael needs for this app. But it is very, very close to being there on the Apple Vision Pro ecosystem. So that little tablet-sized screen over there should totally be on that tablet app of the person sitting nearby. And the person over sitting nearby should be able to help you out inside your game a
I
little bit,
agree.
right? The same way Raphael is helping Don out here. You should be able to sit there, whether it's in the classroom or in someone's living room, and it's just a parent and a child exploring the periodic table together. Like having the tablet in your hand, combining all of this functionality, the stuff that's being hinted by over on Meta's ecosystem. Like I would love, so Raphael, I've talked very long here. Is that what you're looking for? Am I on the right track here? Do you need and want that type of functionality?
No, absolutely, absolutely. I'm not sure, what would be the best way to go about it. That, like, technically, obviously, that's for Meta to figure out. But during that time that we were working on this grant research that was funded by the National Science Foundation, we interviewed hundreds of educators, and we did dozens of classroom playtests. And we found out that a lot of educators want to be able uh, to interact with the users that are isolated in VR. And ideally, I guess in 2025, they probably would want mixed reality instead of VR in general. But at the time, in 2019 or 2020, when we were doing this, when we were doing all these interviews before COVID, um, yeah, like a lot of educators wanted a way to just be able to jump into the experience, into the app, right? So in this case, Tablecraft, they just want to be able to jump into the lab, and this is what we built. We built the ability for them to join the lab with an embodied avatar that the students then can, like react to and wave at and and talk and it was like a little character flying on a little propeller, right? So the educator and the other students would be they would be able to fly around the lab. They had complete movement in the lab, in the tablet and on mobile, and they were able to point to tap the screen to sort of like spawn a little particle effect in the lab and like draw attention to certain things in the lab. That was the extent of what we had, but the idea was that we were also going to make it such that the people the one of the the person that has been chosen to have the authority over the lab, let's say in this case the educator in the classroom, they would be able to also define the alien requests, right? What needs to be crafted, what elements the players even have access to in their lab. So lab customization, things like this. This is what we worked on. I don't know how Meta would generalize something like that. I think just the ability to be able to jump into an app and have a little float, like you were saying maybe earlier, Ian, having like a floating orb or something, like
Yeah.
a general thing that's just there, and you can like talk, right? Because if you're on a tablet, you still have the microphone and stuff, so you could theoretically like pass all that stuff to the VR app. And yeah, I don't know. It's a great idea.
So fascinating. Let me think about this for a second. And this goes to some of my larger themes of our reporting across VR Download, VR Gamescast, the work that David does. If Meta came to you tomorrow and said, "Here's a check to keep you and your partner employed for the next 2 years, but you need to go and build Tablecraft in Horizon Worlds," would you take that check?
No, unfortunately not.
Thank you.
Why?
I think so. Guillaume and I are the kinds of people who, we could probably be working for Meta, right? Like we could be making the big bucks. So we could be working for Meta, or we could be working for Google or whatever. But we're not. Like that's just an intentional choice that we've made. Yeah.
You're not
We
the only
don't
one.
want to
We
be
understand that
constrained.
choice.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, we don't want to be constrained by some executives or whatever. So I obviously I want to be as aligned as possible with our stakeholders, including Meta and so on. But we also want to be able to control our own destiny.
Yeah. So
That makes
then,
perfect
so
sense.
so okay. So I love that. So we heard a no on building Tablecraft for Horizon Worlds. Now, Apple comes to you with a dev kit for Apple Vision Pro. They just ship you. Maybe they ship you two. You and your partner both get $7,000 worth of Apple hardware dropped onto your doorstep. What would you estimate is the time for Tablecraft and Airspace Defender to arrive on the Apple Store?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, it could be as little as like a couple of months, or yeah, I mean, probably it's like we're talking months, not like years or anything like that. So probably months. But I would have to look at the actual documentation to be sure. I'm sure there's probably
I was
some
gonna say,
quirks, different quirks. So because yeah, Apple is very different from the Meta ecosystem. I think putting it on Android XR, that's a much
that was my
simpler.
next question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be much simpler.
I could
But
see the
I
path being
definitely.
similar. Yeah, because I mean, Meta is Android based,
Oh
so
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
correct.
exactly
Yeah,
what Andrew said. It's a
correct.
drop
Yeah,
dead straightforward port, right?
yeah, yeah.
yeah. For the most part, I guess. I guess we'll have to see exactly what they came out with. But yeah, for the most part, it should be straightforward. But I would be interested. Yeah, I mean, I do want to put our projects as widely available as possible. And if people come to us with a paycheck and they offer us the ability to do that, then I would take it. I would love that.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that is the end of our show today. I want to say thank
Okay.
you to everyone involved in putting this together. That means our members first, who made this
Absolutely.
possible, more or less, right? We would not be able to do this show in this format with this kind of conversation going with our members without you. So thank you to CJ7, Robert Quinones, any other members that have been out there that I forgot about earlier in the show or have been out there watching this live as it's being recorded. This format worked. We're going to do it again.
Yes,
I love it. And so if you're a dev interested in having this kind of a nuanced conversation, please reach out to Don over there or Beck and get into a conversation queue with them on trying to get into our schedule to do this. We're gonna try to get better at this over time. I need to give out the biggest of kudos to Beck out there for putting together a fantastic broadcast for us today. This is incredibly hard to pull off. Getting multiple screens live, multiple realities, 3 different people or 4 different people. Just incredible work today, Beck. I was looking at your transitions up on the screen, transitioning from just me talking to full screen, and it looked beautiful. I'm seeing in our comments just stellar response from our members who are loving the dev interactions. So we're going to put this out publicly now that we're done with the live stream, so everyone can enjoy this. Even if you don't have the ability to support us right now as a member, we want to make sure you get this information and you get this conversation as well. And that that also goes for the the executives at the platform companies who we hope hear the words of this developer and the requests, the nuanced requests that they're making, the nuanced journey that they just conveyed to you from 2018 to now of how they decide what games to make for what platforms with what control ecosystems. You heard what the dev says that they need right now to make their work for specific platforms. So we're offering this to the community in multiple ways, in hopes that we get to see this quality work in more places, and we hope to see more from you in the future, Rafael. And we cannot wait to see what cool things we see in the future as more devs bring this to us.
Thank you.
Yes.
I would love to see pre-release stuff too. So if you've got pre-release things, if you're looking for feedback early on in a project, Don can get it installed. We can get it up on this TV, and we can have that conversation with our viewers. So again, thank you to Don for going into VR as well. Thank you to Beck. Thank you to Rafael. Thank you to our members. We will see you in the future.
Thank you so much, everyone. Bye-bye.
See you guys.
Thank you for having me.
Always.
Thank you.